All right, let's just get right into it. Welcome to today's explainer, which is basically going to act as your ultimate no-nonsense playbook for fat loss. We're cutting through all the fads, the noise, and the absolute mountain of conflicting advice out there to give you the exact steps you need to actually succeed. Look, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by diet culture, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break down the mechanics of losing weight in a way that is incredibly easy to understand and honestly, way more importantly, actually easy to execute.
So let's start with a hard truth that might completely flip how you view weight loss. Most people just assume that losing weight is, 50% diet and 50% exercise, but check this out. Both of those combined only make up about a quarter of the actual weight loss equation.
So where on earth does the rest come from? Well, another 25% just comes down to getting good quality sleep. I mean, it's what regulates the hormones that control absolutely everything else in your body.
But here's where the math gets a little crazy. That remaining 500%, it is entirely about execution. It's about doing exactly what you said you were going to do. Luckily, there's a way to set yourself up so that it becomes almost impossible to fail.
Here's the game plan for today. We are breaking this whole thing down into 4 key phases. First, mindset and planning. Second, the math of fat loss. Third, the no-count hack. And finally, the lifestyle grind.
Let's kick things off with Phase 1, mindset and planning. Basically, getting your head in the game. Locking down a foolproof plan is the absolute bedrock of everything we're about to talk about. Step 1 is getting inspired. You see an old photo of yourself or a fit friend, and boom, you get that spark. But here's the catch. Inspiration usually fades in exactly one day. So to survive day 2, you absolutely have to lock in realistic, measurable goals by specific dates. Think, okay, I'm going to lose 5 pounds by July 1st and another 5 by August 1st. Next, you map out a detailed daily plan, like replacing a sugary granola breakfast with a 1-mile jog, 15 big strawberries, and 3 boiled eggs. But a plan just isn't enough on its own. Step 4 is aggressively setting up your environment. You have to actually go buy the strawberries, boil the eggs the night before, and lay out your running clothes. If you leave the grape jelly front and center in the fridge, come on, you don't actually intend to stick to your diet. You have to make healthy eating easy and make accessing junk food incredibly hard.
But look, you've got to expect hard times. Imagine you accidentally trip and fall face first into a booth at IHOP. You're staring at the menu and literally every single item is over 1,000 calories. This is when temptation really hits, and you might consider muttering 5 of the most dangerous words in diet history. I'll actually start dieting tomorrow. Willpower is just your ability to say no in this exact moment. You can practice it, sure, you can anticipate excuses, but willpower is finite. It will absolutely fail you if you try to rely on it every single day.
So, the crucial takeaway here is this. The real cheat code to motivation isn't willpower at all. It's building a habit. By relentlessly repeating your daily plan until it's just automatic, until you wake up and naturally reach for those boiled eggs and lace up your shoes for that jog, you bypass finite willpower completely. It literally just keeps getting easier every single day. Eventually, making healthy choices isn't a diet anymore. It kind of just becomes your entire personality, and that is exactly where we want to be.
All right, moving on to Phase 2, the math of fat loss.
Let's jump right into the actual mechanics of how this works. Quick side note before we do the math. Day-to-day weight fluctuates wildly based on water and food volume, so please do not stress the daily scale number. Just look at your average week-to-week progress to see the actual trend. Okay, so the absolute core of weight loss comes down to simple math. If your body burns 2,000 calories a day, and you only eat 1,700 calories, you create a 300-calorie deficit. To cover that missing energy, your body is literally forced to pull it from your stored fat. That is it. That's the secret. You can use an online calculator to find your starting number, but everybody's metabolism is a little different, so just adjust based on your weekly average. If the scale isn't moving after a few weeks, you drop your intake by another 200 to 300 calories, or you just add a little more exercise.
Now, tracking calories traditionally means reading nutrition labels, doing mental math, and using food scales to weigh things out in grams. For Americans who are totally dreading having to suddenly learn the metric system to track this deficit, don't worry, you really don't have to. The McDonald's drive-thru menu thankfully already has all the calorie counts plastered right up there for you. But jokes aside, if you are going to estimate your calories, play it incredibly safe. If you think a snack is 300 calories, just round it up to 500 in your head.
Let's talk macros for a second. For most weight loss, calories and protein are what actually matter most. But you've got to be careful with fats, things like oils, nuts, and butter. Fat has 9 calories per gram, which means an innocent-looking little pack of trail mix packs about 3 times the calories of a dying neutron star. On the flip side, yeah, some people brag they can eat a family-sized box of Reese's Puffs every single day and still lose weight as long as they're in a calorie deficit. But what they conveniently leave out is that highly processed carbs leave a massive, empty 23-hour void in your stomach. They make you ridiculously hungry, and your blood work is eventually going to come back looking like a giant crying emoji.
Which brings us perfectly to Phase 3, the no-count hack. Listen, if weighing every gram of food and tracking every single bite sounds like absolute torture to you, let's pivot to a highly effective method where you literally don't have to count calories at all. The ultimate trick here is just swapping processed junk for minimally processed whole foods. Look at that tiny, sad little handful of Oreos. That's 200 calories. And right next to it is 200 calories of strawberries, a massive, overflowing bowl. By focusing on fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains, you get so much food volume that you can eat in a calorie deficit every single day without ever actually feeling starved.
To fight off hunger during your deficit, you gotta rely on hydration and smart swaps. Seriously, keep a big water bottle next to you constantly. Half the time you think you're hungry, you're honestly just thirsty. And avoid liquid calories entirely. Drinking sugar is hands down the fastest way to completely ruin a deficit. Instead, make clever swaps. Use cauliflower rice, keto bread, or egg whites. Add flavor with zero-calorie condiments, and hey, if you get a serious sweet craving, utilize zero-calorie diet sodas to your advantage to keep your stomach full without breaking the calorie bank.
Next up, let's lock down those meal habits. The absolute easiest thing you can do to drop calories is just stop snacking completely. When you reach for a bag of chips, you're usually just bored or stressed, not actually hungry. Stick to your 3 to 5 meals a day or try intermittent fasting if a strict eating window works better for your lifestyle. Save your biggest meals for the times of day you know you get the hungriest. Oh, and here is a crazy psychological trick. Use smaller plates and bowls. It literally tricks your brain into feeling full faster. Rounding out the dietary tips here, prioritize protein. Not only does it keep you highly satisfied, but your body actually burns about 20 calories just trying to digest 100 calories of protein. Black coffee and tea can also give a slight metabolism boost and suppress your appetite. But the absolute most important rule to remember, if you mess up your diet one day, never ever use it as an excuse to binge and quit. Messing up wasn't part of the plan, sure, but giving up was never part of the plan. You just get right back on track the next day.
And finally, we've reached Phase 4, the lifestyle grind.
These are your lifestyle multipliers. They solidify and accelerate all that hard dietary work you just put in. Look, diet absolutely drives fat loss, but exercise makes it far, far easier. Lifting weights builds muscle and permanently increases your resting metabolism. Getting 10,000 steps a day is basically the ultimate cheat code for burning extra fat. And doing cardio or high-intensity interval training is just fantastic for your overall health. But here's the real psychological benefit. Once you get in the gym and experience exactly how hard and exhausting it is to burn just 200 calories, you are definitely going to think twice before mindlessly opening a 200-calorie bag of potato chips. So bringing it all together, you now hold the complete playbook for fat loss. You know the math, you've got the mindset, the food hacks, and the lifestyle grind. But none of this, literally none of it, matters if you ignore your sleep, because that's what regulates the very hormones that determine your success. So I'll leave you with this. You know exactly what to do now. But are you ready to commit 500%